Lord Moro, Dragon Ball's all-consuming Oak Wizard. Lord Tirek, Equestria's magic-sucking centaur. Power is something that is in our nature to strive for, but if you aren't careful, it could consume you. That is, of course, unless you consume it first. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. 10 million years ago, the galaxy was menaced by the greatest threat it had ever seen. 320 planets had faced mass extinction, and an entire star system had been wiped off the galactic map by one individual. This was the wizard Moro, consumer of worlds. Moro's magical might was unmatched, and he would use this power to siphon the life and energy from entire planets, leaving them barren husks, and all their inhabitants dead at his hands, with him claiming their energy for himself. It was only when a god, the Grand Supreme Kai, intervened that Moro's reign of terror was brought to an end. Even then, the Kai had to expend all of his power, but in the end was successful in sealing away Moro's magic. He was apprehended by the Galactic Police and sentenced to a swift death. Yeah, a slight problem. Even without his magic, no one was strong enough to kill him, and so he sat, waiting on death row for 10 million years. No one ever able to carry out his sentence. This was problematic, as you can imagine, but even more so than you might expect. Moro's power was slowly returning to him, and, eventually, he grew strong enough to break the magic seal on him and escape from his confinement. And Moro knew what to set his sights on: the legendary wish-granting Dragon Balls of Namek. Even with his magic restored, he had still grown old and wanted to truly return to his prime with their power. Arriving on Namek, it wouldn't be long before he was confronted by the heroes of the modern era, Goku and Vegeta. Feigning weakness, Moro would spend this fight draining the energy from Goku and Vegeta, quite literally eating whatever they threw at him. He caused them to forcefully revert into less powerful forms, and manipulated the energy of the planet itself to tear open massive fissures that spewed torrents of energized lava. Defeating both the heroes and leaving them for dead, he'd begin torturing and killing the Namekians to learn the whereabouts of the balls, casually killing their swan protector without even looking at him. As he finished assembling the Dragon Balls, he would be attacked by Boo, who wielded the power of the Grand Supreme Kai that once sealed him. Moro, even with his enhanced power, failed to stand up to his old enemy. But, fortunately for Moro, those wishes came in handy. Restoring himself to his true apex of power, he escaped the battle and told the heroes they'll find out soon enough what his other wish was. Pursuing him into space, Boo finds that even the sealing magic that once stopped Moro is ineffective. Eventually teleporting him back down to Namek's surface, Moro reveals what his other wish was. Every prisoner in the custody of the Galactic Patrol had broken out, and all had been promised a part of Moro's power if they joined him. And so, that's exactly what they did. Arriving at Namek, the supercharged prisoners overwhelmed the heroes, giving Moro the chance to consume Namek's energy and force their retreat as his newfound scouts scoured the galaxy for more planets for him to consume. Planets like Earth, which Moro's forces would soon move on, but not before Moro consumed countless more worlds. If the heroes of Earth were struggling with the convicts, they were definitely put on the back foot after Moro joined the fray. Not only was Moro getting more powerful by the day, but he had directly consumed one of his former henchmen, 7-3. This is important because Moro would be able to then replicate 7-3's ability, to copy the powers of anyone he touches, and 7-3 had already built up stockpiles. Heroes like Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta, each with a whole host of powerful energy attacks, now all had their powers being turned against them. Especially useful was Piccolo's regeneration, letting Moro grow whole lost limbs. This was in addition to the magic Moro already had, like flight, telekinesis, telepathy, force fields, illusion, duplication, paralyzation, and more. Now with this host of new powers, he was unstoppable. Goku was forced to use Ultra Instinct, a form he hadn't gained full control over yet, and even that wasn't enough to stop Moro. In Ultra Instinct, Goku's body moved on pure instinct, always moving just perfectly to avoid any attack that came his way without needing conscious thought, all while landing his own blows, and Moro still beat him. Even a much weaker Goku was able to send shockwaves across the universe at over 270 quadrillion times the speed of light, with enough force to destroy the universe thousands of times over. And Goku's gotten insurmountably stronger since, with those stats being amplified thousands if not millions of times. That was until Vegeta used Force Spirit Fission, a technique that returned all the souls inside Moro because yes, he's been stealing souls this whole time, back to their rightful owners. They saved, right? Wrong. Remember our copycat 7-3? Turns out 7-3 saved a backup of Moro's power, and Moro was able to fully recharge himself instantly, even after being drained. If his strength is for whatever reason sapped away, he basically has a free extra life on speed dial. Moro would go so far as to absorb the power of the Angel, Miras, a level of strength never before seen in a mortal. Moro would become nigh unto a god. He even copied Ultra Instinct for himself, you know, that super muscle-outs without thinking stuff Goku has. Though, Moro wasn't without weakness. As it turns out, such power was too much for his body to handle. So naturally, he fused into the planet and possessed Earth as his new host. His titanic form looming out of the ground. Even then, the power was too much, and Moro was quickly breaking down, both physically and mentally. Moro was going insane, and Goku and company only had so much time to stop him before his meltdown took everyone out. They'd have to be careful though, as unless Moro's magic gems were targeted with pinpoint accuracy, Moro's death would destroy the planet. Fortunately for our heroes, they pulled it off. Even as Moro spawned colossal reaching arms from the planet's surface and tore the world itself asunder, his own lust for power was his undoing, as he finally reached his breaking point and was defeated once and for all by Goku mastering Ultra Instinct. Jeez, I've heard power can eat you up. I didn't think it'd be that literal. Moro may be gone now, and his damage may have been undone with a handy wish, but make no mistake, Moro was and always will be one of the greatest terrors the universe has ever known. Countless died at his hands, and he stood atop the power hierarchy of the galaxy, but it was never enough. It's fitting that this never-ending quest to absorb as much power as possible would eventually be what did him in. But forget his death. While he was alive, Moro was not someone you wanted to meet. Enough magic to make Merlin blush, enough strength to end all creation with a blink, and enough speed to outpace raw instinct and cross the universe before you know he's gone. Whether it be as an old decrepit man, a hulking juggernaut, or the planet itself, Moro was a threat to all until the day he died. And if you don't believe us, you can ask the cacophony of souls that once resided inside him. They may be back in their rightful bodies, but something tells me they won't be recovering fully anytime soon. Long ago, the kingdom of Equestria was at peace, but dark tidings loomed on the horizon, as the Dark Lord Tirek and his brother Scorpan had set their sights on it. Intent on stealing away all of the magic in the kingdom, their plan would hit a bump when Scorpan actually began to make friends and realized just how messed up their plans were. Selling Tirek out to the royal sisters, Scorpan was set free while Tirek was thrown into the bleak depths of Tartarus for his crimes. Over centuries, Tirek's power would wane, until the once mighty lord was nothing but a shriveled husk of his former self. And yet, in spite of all this, there would come a day when he would escape. Thanks to a helpful incident that gave him the chance to slip out, Tirek was once again free to haunt Equestria. Though he was in no position to make another bid for power yet, not in his weakened state. And so, he bided his time. He'd stalk back alleys in the night, luring unsuspecting victims in to drain their life force and refuel himself. Bit by bit, he was rebuilding his might. But this wasn't going unnoticed. He was soon on the radar with those pesky royal sisters again, the princesses Celestia and Luna. Together, along with royal protege Twilight Sparkle, the three knew something had to be done. But they also knew that they might not be strong enough to do it on their own. So, getting in touch with an old, friend, the trio enlisted the help of the now reformed King of Chaos, Discord. Formerly one of the kingdom's biggest threats, Discord had recently turned over a new leaf and was willing to help out with managing Tirek. Surely, I see no way this can go wrong. Discord appeared before Tirek to apprehend him. It went wrong. Tirek manipulated Discord into once more lapsing back into his evil ways, now working as a pair to spread havoc. Soon enough, Tirek had grown in power enough to overpower even the great Alicorn princesses, and they knew it. Celestia and Luna, along with fellow Princess Cadence, all transferred their power to Twilight, and sent her into hiding to keep it away from Tirek. Tirek, marching on Canterlot Castle, was enraged by this deception, banishing the princesses to Tartarus to claim his revenge. But, noting a depiction of Twilight in a stained glass window, he realized where the power must be. With a little direction from Discord, he marched on Twilight's home in Ponyville. Fortunately, Twilight's friends were there to help hold the line. Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Applejack, Fluttershy, and Pinkie Pie all joined the fray, and were all immediately humiliated and drained of their power. Well, as if that wasn't bad enough, Tirek would then backstab Discord, taking his power. Done with hiding after Tirek destroyed her home, Twilight had had enough and faced Tirek directly, wielding not just her own power, but that of the three princesses. After a long and hard-fought battle that left much of Ponyville destroyed, the pair found themselves at a stalemate. But Tirek had leverage, the lives of Twilight's friends. Forced to surrender, Twilight yielded her magic to Tirek, despite her friend's protest. He was all-powerful. He had the power of the princesses, Discord, and most of Equestria by now. Even just one of those would be immense. Princess Luna is powerful enough to control and merge infinite dream worlds, which are entire physical universes. And comparably powerful individuals like Stygian can threaten the multiverse, which, according to the sage, Starswirl the Bearded, is infinite. And Tirek was now way beyond even the likes of them. That's not even mentioning all the crazy new abilities he stole. The magic of the princesses is potent enough to move the sun and moon, and he could use it to create all sorts of magical effects. Force fields, energy blast, teleportation, even spells like Panacea that could immediately undo any damage he might take. But of course, even that pales in comparison to Discord, who could rewrite reality to his whims with a snap of his fingers, fly at immeasurably fast speeds through time, and animate his own ghost! And now Tirek had that power for himself. It was only by unsealing the great Tree of Harmony chest that a magic too powerful for even Tirek was set free, overpowering him and sealing him away once more in Tartarus. Left to rot once more, it was during this time of isolation Tirek would have an, interesting development. Turns out, Tirek's machinations inspired some others to try their hand at this whole evil business, and they were looking for a better way to be bad. And perhaps the most fanatically vile up-and-comer was, surprisingly, a child, Cozy Glow. Cozy Glow would routinely commune with Tirek, plotting and planning her own schemes. She didn't have as much luck, and after unsuccessfully trying to commit mass murder, she too found herself in Tartarus, locked away. Though it wouldn't be long before both Tirek and his new apprentice found themselves summoned, teleported away by the nefarious Grogar, alongside fellow villains Queen Chrysalis and King Sombra, in an attempt to form a legion that could together accomplish their goals. Uncooperative at first, the group soon unwillingly submitted to Grogar after Sombra ventured out on his own and was killed. But, completing their task of retrieving Grogar's legendary bewitching bell, the trio plotted to overthrow him. After a brief detour to the library to learn how to actually use the bell, they harnessed its power. The bell was a powerful artifact that could sap away the vitality and strength of anyone and anything, bestowing it to the wielder or transferring it to someone else. Wait, couldn't Tirek already do that? He could, yes, but the bell is much more potent than Tirek's usual draining. Using it, he was able to drain Grogar, who, as it turned out, had been Discord in disguise trying to manipulate the trio. He had reached a point where even without it, he could drain the Pillars of Equestria, the legendary heroes of old, and return to his peak once again. Now back at full power, wielding the bell, and with allies at his side, Tirek marched on the kingdom once more with Chrysalis and Cozy Glow. Total war broke out. But after countless battles and changing tides, Tirek was eventually overwhelmed and defeated for good. Tirek was finally and utterly vanquished one last time. Just like that? Seems easier than the first time. This time around, Twilight had all her teammates backing her up, along with a huge equestrian army. Well, Tirek, alongside Cozy Glow and Chrysalis, were petrified in stone forevermore. Set to spend the rest of eternity as statues, the trio would never again menace Equestria. Until Chrysalis broke out again. But the comic ended after that, so who knows? Yeah, point is, Tirek may not be gone for good. If Chrysalis could break out, who's to say he can't as well? He's come back before, and he's always risen to the top. It doesn't matter what form he has, he'll always be one step ahead of the competition, and he won't stop until they're crushed beneath his hoof. Equestria knows peace, for now, but who knows when that might change. Any day, Tirek could return like he always does. But until then, he'll be waiting. It's an awfully long time, but he's done it before. So even if you think it's safe, maybe think twice about sleeping easy. Or you might be sleeping for a long time.
O rainbow of darkness that darkness sends, now begin the nights that never end!
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities. It's time for a death battle! I'm telling you, boss, we gotta have come here already. Everything's bone dry of energy. It's...
Saganbo? Saganbo, report!
Well now, I suppose I have room for dessert.
Ah, so you're the source of this circumstance. I should thank you, really. You've pulled everything for me already.
And now you're mine! That's
Interesting.
Please don't let him hurt us.
Oh, I have no intent to.
unfortunately for you. I don't mind playing with my food.
And therein lies the problem. Too much scheming. Not enough instinct.
Whoa. Enough of this!
You think yourself powerful? Perfect.
Oh, please. You couldn't handle real power.
But I can certainly handle you. Yield, and I will make your end swift. What sense is there in struggling?
To quote a friend of mine, what fun is there in making sense?
It would seem that physicality is not cutting it. Allow me to remedy this! Tremble, tyrant! You face your end!
Wait!
What?
The fight's not done. Until you hear the bell. It seems that we are at an impasse.
Perhaps to you. Fortunately, I have backup. I came here for your power, Wretch, and I intend to take it.
Fine then. If you want it, then you can have it.
My, how diplomatic of you. It's rare that
What's the matter? Bit off more than you could chew? It's as I said. You couldn't handle real power.
KO! Oh, come on, Moro! Not even a wafer-thin mint? While at first glance this may seem like an even bout, it's not too hard to realize who wins once all the pieces are on the table. Yeah, both could drain vitality, sir, but that ironically means they could cancel out the other's core ability by simply siphoning the energy back. Even the more advanced draining techniques like Moro's soul stealing and Tirek's bewitching bell would fall short. Right. In the case of Moro's soul stealing, recall that Tirek has the powers of Discord, who's able to animate his own soul and move it freely, meaning Tirek would simply be able to will his soul back into his body. Likewise, Moro's backup of his own powers from 7-3 would ensure that even if Grogo's bell drained him, he could always top up. So, with neither able to secure a win with no draining, let's see how they stacked up in other fields. Fields like power, which, perhaps surprisingly, Tirek dominated in. While it's true that Moro could overpower Goku after he had grown potentially millions of times stronger from his universe-threatening shockwaves, that doesn't hold a candle to what Tirek was working with. Yeah, remember that he absorbed the energy of several individuals in the same tier of power as beings like Stygian and Luna, including Luna herself, both of whom could affect infinite multiverses. However high Moro's strength may be, it's not infinite, which can be practically proven as well by the fact he's been overloaded before. And remember, Tirek could drain nearly half a dozen beings of this level. He was being fueled by not just infinity, but several infinities. Speed similarly fell in the Centaur's favor. Moro may be able to keep up with Goku's blinding speeds, reaching upwards of sextillions of times the speed of light, but Tirek's speed is simply immeasurably high, with Discord flying back in time through sheer speed, as well as Stygian being able to overrun infinity, demonstrating this. Yeah, at the end of the day, for as high as Moro's numbers were, they were still numbers, as opposed to Tirek, whose strength and speed were infinite. But what about their special abilities? Moro had a whole lot going for him there. True, but he once again finds himself outmatched. Being able to wield Discord's power alone would let Tirek match and surpass anything Moro can do and more, let alone all of Tirek's other victims. Moro's magic may be broad, but it's not on par with total reality warping. And, due to Tirek's speed, it's unlikely Moro would ever be able to use Force Spirit Fission to depower him. Even Moro's regeneration was inferior to Tirek's, with spells like Panacea letting Tirek instantly set himself good as new whenever he felt like it. As a final nail in the coffin, Moro may be able to recover from the bell's draining, but not its bestowal. Yeah, power overload has proved to be a weakness for Moro before, and what's done him in. Given Tirek's power reserve is infinite, he'd have no problem overcharging Moro with the bell until he popped. Even Ultra Instinct wouldn't really help Moro, seeing as Tirek was way too fast for it to properly function. Moro was the more experienced fighter and the more skilled in combat, but those are two relatively minor advantages compared to what Tirek had in his corner. Yeah, skill was only getting him so far, and it wasn't far enough. Moro was a terrifying opponent, but Tirek's awesome strength, incalculable speeds, and reality warping capabilities were more than enough to secure the win. Tirek wasn't gonna go down until he heard the bell, and ended up showing Moro which of them was really the GOAT. The winner is Lord Tirek.